Hi, I'm Dave, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to turn a Scalextric police car into a Carrera digital pace car. As the plan for Mundon Park Circuit is to turn it into a UK urban diorama street circuit, I figured I should probably get a UK urban pace car, and what better than a UK police car, especially a contemporary one. So the BMW 330 police car from Scalextric is really the obvious and perfect choice for what I want to do. This is another one of those Scalextric's repurpose an old mould kind of cars, but it doesn't really matter. I think it started out as a touring car. They took the rear wing off it and filled the hole in on the tailgate fairly crudely, but it doesn't really matter because what they've made is a really good toy car for a kid. It's just a simple fact. Kids love emergency vehicles for whatever reason. I think it's the flashing lights and the sirens, and this car has flashing lights and sirens. It's a perfect car to get if you want to play slot cars with the grandkids or the kids. They'll love it. This is absolutely perfect to get young people into the hobby. Well done on this one, Scalextric. Not trying to make any specific car, just trying to make a kid's toy. And they've done it really well, I think. So, having said they've made a great car, let's tear it to pieces then. The first thing to note is there are wires everywhere in here. The main thing is that the wires that go to the lights and the siren are all in the top, and they're soldered directly to the motor, which means you can't really get the body shell off properly. So first thing I'm going to do is just grab a soldering iron and desolder those, just so we can get the body out the way. So I'm going to use the Carrera Digital 132 flashing light chip. I did think I was going to need to use the extra flashing light functions for this car, but having looked at it, I don't think I do. But I'm going to use the chip anyway, and maybe we'll add some extra flashing lights to it at a later date. So here's the chip with all the connections. Top right are the front lights. Bottom right, the grey and purple one goes to the motor. The two in the middle at the bottom, the green and white ones, they're for the flashing lights. Bottom left is the rear lights, and top left goes to the main power pickup. So everything in the Scalextric car is in a little plug. So if we just pull that out for a minute, and what we want to do is get to what's called the DPR door, which is just in the bottom of the Scalextric cars. It's for if you're going to put their chip in, but we're not, so we're going to have to modify this slightly. The first thing we have to do is take the little casing off that the plug that we just pulled out was in, and that's only held on by a couple of heat. If you just get a soldering iron and heat up the tops of the tabs, it should just pop off. Like that. And there's a couple of little tabs left, which we'll just cut off. We want this to be as flat as possible across here, so we'll cut that off, and then we'll probably file it flat slightly as well. There, quick file, just make sure it's nice and flat. So that's a DPR door, and we're going to drill a hole and a slot in it. There we are. And so that's the switch and the sensor from the Carrera chip will poke through in the correct place. Put the DPR door back in. My favourite little bit of blue tack to hold the chips in, as always. check it for fitment. There's plenty of room in this car for this chip. These are quite big chips, these Carrera ones, but there is plenty of room for this one. Now squish the blue tack on the DPR door. Line the chip up so that the LED pops through the hole we drilled. Everything lines up nicely, and just press it down. You can see there. So that's fitted quite nicely. Now the rest of this really is wiring, and you don't need to watch me cut, strip, tin and solder together and heat shrink a load of wires. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to show you a diagram of how all the wires line up. Let's have a little bit of a guided tour of the wires. The white and sort of peachy coloured ones are, as I mentioned before, for the rear lights. So the white one goes to the black and the peachy coloured one goes to the red, straight to the rear lights. The purple and grey ones are to the motor. We've done this before on many chips. Purple to red, grey to black on the motor. You only use one of the two front light switches, yellow to red and sort of greeny yellow to black for the front lights. And then from the pickup it's yellow to red and green to black. And then there's three left over in the middle. And the last thing I've done is I've soldered a separate plug and a couple of wires back onto the motor for the lights. All I did was got a couple of these off eBay. They're really cheap. So one to the motor, one to the light rig in the shell, and that should hopefully make it quite a lot easier to get the body shell on and off in the future. So that's the shell back in, and you can see the digital chip sticking out the bottom through the holes that we cut. Right, let's get it on the track and code it up. Let's just have a quick look at the lights and sirens.
That's the sound of the police!
Yeah, maybe not. It's a bit more neenor than that. Yeah, kids are going to love that. And this big kid is now playing with the police car on his slot car track. This is quite a unique slot car for me because I don't want to try and drive it round as fast as I possibly can. I just want to drive it round slowly, looking for trouble or to cause it. I don't know. So really just one more thing to do here, which is set it up as a pace car. So if I get this right, that car should end up in that pit and stop. So coding a pace car, same as coding a normal car, but press the button 3 times. Set the speed just as you would for a ghost car. And it's in the pit and stopped. Success! As always, thank you so much for spending some time watching one of my videos. If you liked it, you will find a button specifically for that. Please subscribe to the channel for further updates and check out these other great slot car channels.